If you've been following this channel for a while, then you know about my history with Unturned. If not, let me catch you up on it real fast. I started out on YouTube making videos entirely focused on a game called Unturned. It's a free-to-play zombie survival game made by one person named Nelson Sexton, and I made hundreds of videos on it, ranging from unfunny, funny moments compilations, to base raids, RP, and more. This game is how I got to my first 100,000 subscribers, and it holds a special place in my heart. But I got bored with it. After 1900 hours in all of those videos, I really didn't want to touch this game ever again. The survival formula that made it popular is what led to my eventual burnout with the game and lack of interest in ever playing it again. I was done with Unturned. However, a recent video by a popular Unturned YouTuber piqued my interest and made me re-download this game for the first time in years. And what he did marks a turning point for this game. A point that could usher in a new era of Unturned and bring hundreds of thousands of people back to this already popular game. I mean, don't get me wrong, Unturned is by no means dead. It's still one of the most played games on Steam. But what I saw in this video and later experienced myself made me realize how far this game has come and what may lie on the horizon for Unturned. But before I dive into the specifics of what I'm talking about, I want to start by talking about the evolution of modding in Unturned. From the early days of the game, Nelson gave modders access to tons of tools to help them make the game their own, and there were some impressive things being made. There were a lot of awesome early game mods like weapons and objects and even some maps, and these were a great way to introduce the concept of the Unturned workshop to the masses. The problem, however, was that these mods didn't really feel like Unturned. The textures were always just a bit off compared to the art style in the game, the sounds were often choppy and thrown together, and things were a bit unpolished. Modders in the early days didn't really know what to do or how to do it, and it was extremely difficult to make a working Unturned mod. One of the first real pioneers in the modding community that bridged this gap and made Unturned mods feel natural and polished was a guy named Rain. Rain pushed the limits of the tools that Nelson gave modders access to and made some of the most innovative early day mods on the workshop. He made jetpacks, Star Wars mods, and even commissioned some vehicles that I would later use in a few videos of mine. He hosted a World War II server which ended up becoming one of the first popular modded Unturned servers and would later go on to create one of the most revolutionary ideas in the history of Unturned: Bootleg RP. Bootleg RP was the first project of its size. A fully custom modded RP server with hundreds of custom items, guns, vehicles, and clothes, a custom map, groups with jobs and roles, police, houses for rent, and so many other cool things that were never before seen in this simple zombie survival game. Other servers had often pieced together user-made mods to create something unique, but Bootleg was developed from the ground up, with an estimated 3,500 plus hours of work put into everything from the textures to the sounds, map, and the server itself. Bootleg was a sort of deity for ambitious Unturned modders and developers, and it showed people what was possible in this game and how, with the right team and ideas, you could truly reach for the stars. Over time, modding got much easier, with Unity becoming free for the masses and with Nelson releasing assets and documentation to help people make better maps and mods. Since then, there have been some extremely impressive mods released, like a fully functional mech with UI and special effects, map projects like Elver, which basically rebuilt the game from the ground up with new vehicles, weapons, music, objects, and more, and countless other projects that would have never been possible in the past. People have the ability to truly mess around with the code in the game, create things that they find exciting, and make their ideas into a functioning server with plugins and unique functionalities that bring their vision to life. There have been some impressive projects like Unturned, an entire custom Escape from Tarkov experience in Unturned, and Rust Turned, which mimic the Rust experience in a free-to-play environment. These modded projects and servers were extremely successful, with hundreds of players and hundreds of thousands of viewers on YouTube, and it goes to show how much people wanted new things in Unturned outside of the traditional survival experience. But there was always one glaring problem with these cool modded experiences. They still seemed like Unturned workshop projects made by casual developers and players. There were always workarounds that felt unnatural and shortcuts that felt a little off-putting and strange. You felt like you were still playing something made by novices in the game of Unturned. Now this brings me to the video that I watched on YouTube last week. The new Unturned project that changes everything. Unturned Blackout. Blackout is arguably the most ambitious Unturned server project ever attempted, and the quality tops everything else I've ever seen in this game. It is a fully unique, unturned Call of Duty experience built from the ground up, with custom menus, a fully developed class creation system, kill streaks, leaderboards, custom UI across the board, and much, much more. This is the first Unturned project that doesn't feel like one made by novices, and it has the potential to change the way that modders look at this game. And I'm going to talk about that mod right after I briefly thank the sponsor of today's video, Drakensang Online. Drakensang Online is a free-to-play MMO with over 10 years of development and millions of players. You play as one of 4 classes and adventure through the world of Draconia to complete quests, fight monsters, and have fun by yourself or with friends. There are hundreds of hours of content in this game, tons of quests, and thousands of weapons, charms, and items to build out your character and rule the world. You can hop into PvP battles with other players, fight bosses in dungeons, and complete awesome challenges. And best of all, their newest update, Realm of the Firelord, just added even more to the insane amount of content available in Drakensang Online, completely for free. So download it today from the website or for free on Steam by using my link in the description and check it out. Now, about Unturned Blackout. The creation of Unturned Blackout was led by popular Unturned YouTuber Panda, and he, alongside a team of 20 developers, sound effect artists, UI designers, and other members, have worked on it for over a year, making this project possible. And let me tell you, it is impressive. On one hand, Blackout feels like a standalone first-person shooter that could exist entirely outside of Unturned. The movement is completely refined compared to the slow, clunky, vanilla Unturned movement, and everything feels extremely fast-paced and exciting, which is one of the biggest flaws with other Unturned projects and things like Arena. There are 0 vanilla Unturned weapons or items, and everything is custom and individually modeled. The menus and UI in the game don't have that Unturned feel to them, and everything is extremely quick and responsive. There's an in-depth class customization system with over 59 weapons, dozens of attachments, unique kill streaks, camos, weapon charms, and much more. You have the ability to build out your classes to your liking, and even rename them to keep track of them, just like you could do in popular first-person shooters. Blackout even has its own leveling system and leaderboard, and when you level up, you unlock currency to buy new weapons, attachments, and items for your loadouts, just like you could in Black Ops 1. The backbone of this whole project, surrounding the menus and the custom content, creates the foundation of a really cool experience, and Blackout utilizes it to its core and ensures that what it offers is unlike anything else available. As I said before, other projects have attempted stuff like this, but most of them have fallen short due to the limitations of Unturned. But with how Unturned has evolved, Blackout did not miss whatsoever. Once you're done messing around with the beautiful menus, you can select your server to play in different matches. Whether it's Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirmed, Capture the Flag, or Free-for-all, you can see which games are active and join them seamlessly from inside the server. Each of these 4 game modes has 4 variations: Standard, Knife Only, Sniper, or Hardcore, and there are always a few different options based on what you want to play. Most of the game modes are extremely polished, and I never had an issue enjoying my experience. The gunplay feels almost perfect, minus the absurdly long reloading speeds for early game players who don't have sleight of hand. Seriously, my blind grandma can reload a gun faster than this, and half the time I could run to the kitchen and grab a goddamn glass of water while I'm waiting on my gun to reload. Minus this minor inconvenience, everything looks and feels outstanding in the gunplay, and it seems like something that could exist outside of Unturned. The knife-only game mode, on the other hand, is absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to say that it feels like the pinnacle of custom gaming experiences, because it's an absolute disaster, but I will say it is extremely funny and entertaining. Alright, we're coming for you guys. You're gonna sit in the corner? Sit in the corner, bro. Try me.
He said he's gonna... Oh, fuck. He's gonna try to unlock a gun, he said.
Yeah, we lost. GG.
Yeah, you lost. You're damn right.
Bro, I almost did like 10 times.
Almost.
Doesn't count.
There's a lot of custom content in this mod, but the team knows what people love and didn't try too hard to be entirely unique. While all of this is extremely impressive and Unturned, there is a lot of content based off of Black Ops 1 and 2 as well, which makes it cool and somewhat nostalgic to play. There's currently 15 maps, 10 of which are exact replicas of Call of Duty maps, modeled all the way down to the individual objects. I knew the layouts of these maps perfectly because nothing changed from the Black Ops versions to these, and it was super enjoyable to explore these, since I hadn't touched them in years. The map team in particular did a really good job, and I spent most of my time being impressed about how well these maps were executed. In short, Blackout is cool, and it's probably the highest quality, most polished Unturned mod ever made. It's quite impressive, and I imagine that there was a lot of money invested into making this. Obviously, there has to be a way for them to regain some of that investment and make some money off of this, or else it wouldn't be worth it. And you are right. They monetize the game by selling stuff on the store. Say what you want about people monetizing their servers. I've definitely said some stuff about it in the past on this channel. But I will say, the way that this is monetized isn't too bad. I honestly expected some pay-to-win shit, but everything in the Blackout store is pretty tame. There's some skin crates, which honestly, who fucking cares because they're cosmetics, and I don't think anybody really cares about stuff like that anymore. Yes, the crates do slightly promote gambling, but this stuff is in every other game on the planet now, so honestly, like I said, who cares? Look at it however you want, but either way, I'm fine with all of this stuff because without it, there's no real incentive for people to work hard and make mods like this. And I know for a fact that this project was extremely expensive to make and run. Blackout is setting the bar for Unturned projects, and I would love to see a world where Nelson embraces this dynamic and continues to create more tools for Unturned players to get even crazier with their ideas. Imagine an ecosystem like Roblox, without the cringe, where you can play hundreds of game modes, but in Unturned. I see something like that on the horizon, and I really hope it happens. But for now, I'm gonna go back and play some more Unturned Blackout and see where it goes.